Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, May the 29th, 2024. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Peace and love, man.
You?
Peace and love.
Wow. Hands on the wheel there. Yeah.
Woo!
Ah! All right. It's like a bike
Check
going
my
down a hill,
alignment.
right? Check my alignment. There you go. So, how are you, gents, on this fine evening?
Sick of sitting in traffic.
Was it? Yeah, traffic day today, huh? What did you? Where were you coming from?
The shitty parts of Denver.
The shitty parts of Denver.
Both of them?
The suburbs where you have to drive.
I heard there was two.
Through lots of people with. Well, they're nice to a lot of people. They're just shitty to me because they're suburban and require you to get on the highway and drive with a lot of people in SUVs. It's just not fun.
They don't recognize you? Get out of your way?
They don't. I was like, come on. I got a podcast that 4 people listen to that no one can access for the last 4 months.
We're going to be starting in somewhere around an hour to 3.5 hours from now.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I got to get home. Well, you know what I think?
What do you think?
I think we would all be happier if we were the guy who worked at the CBD shop.
Yeah.
Natural Remedies, it's called. It was my last delivery today. That's why I'm still in the car. I was going to be home on time, and then we got an order from Natural Remedies. And those people that work there are happy because they're stoned.
There you go.
And it's awesome. And, you go in and they're all like, hey, how's it going? Well, dude, everything good. Yeah, man. They're just mellow and happy, and they love their jobs. And I think that I want to stop driving and become a CBD store guy.
And get a job there, or open your own store. Why not?
Yeah, maybe. Why not?
Yeah.
So then there'll be no more of this doing the show from the road.
Then you'll just do it from there.
From a cloud of smoke.
Do it from a cloud of smoke in your own store. There you go. I think that'd be perfect. Oh.
So yeah, like it's like normally something would come in, and it was 25 minutes to go pick it up, and then whatever, another 10 or 12 minutes farther away from home, and I would be grousing because the very end of the day and blah blah blah. But you can't be mad when you go in and you talk to these guys in the store.
No, when you're talking to them,
you're just like, oh man, it's like, all that good energy kind of rubs off on you, and you're like, yeah, it could be worse.
Could be, that's for sure.
So, if you're ever really feeling like you just can't take it anymore, go get a job in a pot shop,
or at least just walk into one once in a while.
They paid some money. I would
go in, get a couple of well, that's it. Stuff is expensive. Go in and get yourself a couple of mellow out tea bags or whatever. You'll be good for the next couple of hours.
You'll be good for an hour or two. Yeah, what the hell?
At least till the next day.
Exactly.
When I'm on the road in traffic, but
there you go.
Yeah. So interesting experience. I was all PO'd when I went in there. After coming out, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Anyway, all right. Shall we kick this off with the memes?
Sure.
Let's do some memes.
Let's do them. There we go. All right. First up on the hit parade tonight, we got "Please Don't Flash the Octopus." Not quite sure what it means.
The reason for that is because they have a lot of arms.
And they might grab you with 1 or 2 or 9 of them.
Oh, yeah, if you flash and they think you want some, right, and they're going to get a little grabby.
Exactly.
So you're going to need 4 people who are not amputees, at least, to hold them off.
Exactly. Fair enough. Good point. I like that. All right. Moving on to the next one. We got this was a sign at a used car lot. It's leaning up against the car. It said, "Is Billy a loser? Just ask Bob."
It says actually what it says is Billy a loser?
Loser, yes. Is Billy a loser?
Yeah.
So, is Billy a loser?
Billy, don't
Was
you
that written by Bob?
Billy, don't you looser my
Bob wrote the
number?
sign?
What's that?
You think Bob wrote that sign?
Bob might have wrote the sign. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that you hit the nail on the head with that one.
I think we're really going to reel everybody in with the audio quality of this podcast today.
I think it's good, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
It's drive-through window, Pete.
Yeah. Would you like fries with that? Exactly.
Please pull up to the next window.
That was too clear. You got to have that. All right, moving on to the next one. Here we go. XY S24 plus 6.7 inch 2024 black made in China.
Okay.
I'm not sure where China is, but is it anywhere near China?
Guess it's.
I think it's just north of China.
I think it's just north of China. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 1 H away.
1 H away. All right, moving on to the next one. Just want to go through those really quick. Funnier ones are coming up. Here we go. Food service items. If you look all the way down the bottom, it says Chinese food box filled with white trash.
It's a big box.
I'm like, what was it even supposed to mean? That's what I want to know. Because the others have chocolate covered pretzel rods, cookie box with peppermint bar, cookie box with peanut brittle, cupcake box with ginger cookies, and Chinese food box filled with white trash.
I think it's exactly what you need. You just open it up and Kid Rock comes out. It's fantastic.
There you go.
Or you get the big boxes, Kid Rock and Ted Nugent.
You get Debbie from the 7-Eleven. It's fantastic. You get.
Well, and notice the word trash is capitalized.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is some of the nicer white trash.
It's proper trash. Get it right.
Yeah, this is properly nouned trash.
There you go.
What is the actual error here? I always love to figure out what they meant.
That's what I'm saying. Of all of the of all of them,
like it's a bit of a stretch from rice to trash, which I would assume a Chinese food box.
Well, yeah, but
rice.
This is all desserts, kind of sweet. So
yeah.
White chocolate,
yeah,
truffles, white
truffles.
Somebody,
really,
I can only imagine it was
particularly Chinese.
I think all of this shit is just made so that somebody can post it online.
Well, no, I have a feeling that this is real. I have a feeling that this was made by somebody who was typing quick, and when they were typing white chocolate or white truffles, maybe they were typing white truffles, and and they got carried away, and in their mind, a Freudian slip, they typed trash and never spell checked it. You know,
right?
Since trash was spelled correctly. Yeah. So anyway, all right, moving on to the next one. Moving on to the next one, we got this one. If you're looking for something to do, exercise, something new, form of exercise, you can go here and take yoga and pirates. So
I like that. I like pirate yoga.
There you go. Yoga and pirates.
The spacing is bad though.
Spacing's a little bad. But yeah,
it's like the yoga is its own separate thing.
Yoga,
but then we throw in some pirates
and pirates. And we'll give you a couple pirates too.
This could be like AImemes.com.
It also really. Well, my guess is that it's supposed to be Pilates,
right?
And they typed a different letter instead of an L, and autocorrect made it pirates. That would be my guess. But it would be interesting if there was yoga taught by pirates. That would be an interesting. I'd take that class. So anyway. All right, here we go. These are good ones. Here we go. Back in stock now. Bacon lube.
Bacon lube is always fantastic.
Bacon lube in stock now. Now, here's the thing, though. What kind of lube is it? Are you lubing your car? Is it something clever name of something for food, like bacon grease that you can use for to start up a cooking or whatever, or is it actually lube? We'll leave it alone. Made of bacon.
Oh, I'm not going to leave it alone.
All right, you don't leave it alone though.
Well, listen, we know that if you've ever seen the video of like inseminating the cows, maybe they do that with pigs too.
Maybe they do that with pigs too. Bacon lube. So they're just calling pigs bacon. Yeah.
I'm sure that there's an actual bacon lube out there. Yeah, it gives a whole new meaning to greasing it up to put some pork in.
Yeah. On that note, I'm sure there's got to be at least bacon flavored lube, but we'll leave that alone. Not that we have
that would be the most likely, I would think.
Bacon flavored lube back in stock. Yeah, in stock now. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Did you ever see that comedian years ago?
It's actually just made from bacon grease. It's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah. You see that comedian years ago? He's a big fat guy, and he was talking about his wife is big and fat too, and he got her edible panties. And they were like macaroni and cheese flavor. Not like strawberry or champagne. It was like macaroni and cheese, big lasagna. So this could be bacon flavored lube.
Bacon flavored lube. There you go. You use that when you're having the barbecue edible underwear. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Next one.
Gallons is a carnivore.
There you go. Next one up, we got here we go. Pea in grass. All right. Well, we know it's a parking symbol, of course. It's parking in grass. Well, grass is spelled wrong. Obviously, it's missing an S, but pea in grass. I thought that was funny.
This could be another language, right?
What's that?
This could be another language, right?
It could be in grass. Yeah.
Maybe in means off.
Off. Yeah.
Park on the grass. Usually you don't see a sign that says park on the grass. Well, unless it's like a big festival and they suddenly need 6 times as much parking as they normally have, and then they'll park everybody in a field. But so maybe that's what it is.
Gotcha.
But I would imagine if that's the case, there's a lot of peeing in the grass going on anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say
not just parking.
Exactly. A lot of brown stains on the not brown stains, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Stains on the grass.
A lot of well-watered patches.
Well-watered patches. There you go. And speaking of brown stains, we have 1 hour poo. There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes, it's supposed to be photo, but 1 hour poo. And hey, we've all been there, right? So no.
Yeah, got me out of a couple of my kids'
Sing on. It got you out of a couple of your kids' concerts. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So not as funny as some other ones we've done in the past, but those were the ones for tonight. So there you go. All right. Moving on. Let's change the background just for a second. I got one thing to talk about with baseball before we get started on our basketball and hockey talk for the night. Now, you guys both know how I feel about refereeing both in football and in baseball, right? And you know how
the 1 hour poo emoji.
The 1 hour poo emoji, exactly. I put that up all the time. You know how I feel about it, right? One of the most egregious victims of people that have done that lately for a while now, but definitely lately, a lot this year, was Angel Hernandez. Well, he was obviously he just retired. I don't know what your take is on it, but this was actually posted online today, and it said reports are coming out that Angel Hernandez's retirement came out from a meeting with top MLB officials. Officials were questioning Hernandez's ability to see and comprehend correctly. Angel got so worked up that he stormed out and slammed the door behind himself. It took Angel about 10 minutes to realize that he was in the closet. His announcement of retirement came soon after. So, Now, of course, that's not real, but I thought that was pretty funny and spot on, obviously, to speak to what that man has done over the last couple of months in this season alone, let alone before this year. Thoughts on Angel Hernandez's retirement?
I mean, he kept it interesting.
Yeah. I think he got confused with the conception of balls and strikes, because for quite a while this year he was calling strikes balls and ball strikes.
Remember the Leslie Nielsen scene in whatever movie
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think he should have just went that extreme, and it would have, and then it would have been okay.
Yeah, call the strike before the pitch even left. Strike. Yeah.
Look, Angel Hernandez is everything and anything that's wrong with baseball umpiring.
Yeah.
He's bad. He makes himself more important than the game. He's been doing it for 33 years, and he's been bad for most of those years.
Yep.
Yeah.
What I heard, and this is the part that really made me laugh, is there was a meeting, and I don't think he wanted to retire, but he was forced out, basically.
They retired him.
Said, yeah, we've had enough, so we're going to say that you want to retire. And he proved that he's bad at everything, because he came out and gave the old, want to spend more time with my family.
Right.
Which is never true. It's never true.
Never.
No. If you're a baseball umpire, you hate your family at least half the year.
Yeah. So, look, good riddance. He was terrible, and hopefully this will be a wake-up call to other umpires, because he's not the only bad umpire. There's a couple others who regularly make very questionable calls and have a lot of attitude and all that stuff. Hopefully it'll be a wake-up call to them. Between that and the automatic, the robotic strike zone camera, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
We can take that away from you guys too. So, good riddance to just a terrible guy who was really just terrible at his job. He was around too long, and he's gone now. So hopefully it sends a message to some of these other guys. Straighten up.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
That doesn't explain Mitch McConnell.
Is he an umpire now?
He's an umpire or something. He's definitely one of the umpires of any woman's uterus in this country.
Oh, geez. There.
Well,
All right. On that note, let's switch it up. Let's go to NBA. Let's do our NBA talk. All right, we are down to 3 teams. What are your thoughts on the West?
I thought Minnesota's an interesting team. Dallas is sort of surprising to some degree, but they both sort of play half the game as if they just can't put anybody away. And I think Dallas obviously is in the driver's seat. I'm not sure they're going to win this next game, but I think they win this series. I also think that they might just have a better chance of beating the Celtics, because I think that with Kyrie and Luka, I think those two playing pretty good playoff basketball. I think they can beat them. Now, Kyrie had his worst game of the series last night, and they still were kind of toying with coming back and winning that again. So I don't know.
They played somewhat poorly for a good portion, and particularly in the first half of that game, and they were still in it. Yes. They were only 4 points down, and then I think it was tied at halftime. So Dallas is a very interesting
Dallas
team. And remember when Kyrie went there, and we all went, "How you gonna? Come on! Now Kyrie's gonna work with Luka. You have your two superstars who never play a lick of defense, and one is
never quite. I mean,
and we all thought, how is this going to work? This will be over. I thought it was going to be over by next year, but somehow, and I guess a lot of it is respect for Jason Kidd, he made it work, and now
has nothing to do with Jason. Has nothing to do with Jason Kidd. What it has to
I don't
do
think it
with,
has nothing to do with it.
it has nothing to do with Jason Kidd is one of the most overrated people to ever step on an NBA court, and he's not the reason why they're winning. The reason why they're winning is Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving has shut his mouth and played basketball, and I think Kyrie is the reason defensively. Look, Luka had 5 steals last night. They're playing. They're able to disrupt Minnesota when they go to put the ball on the floor because Minnesota's bigger and longer than they are, but they have not been able to exploit Dallas, and Dallas's role players have been playing great. It's just they're that team this year that has clicked late in the season, and it's a good matchup for them. And I don't know. I mean, you could say what you want about Luka. The guy is one of the best talents to ever step on the court. And I feel like when the ball's in his hands and when there's one shot to go, he's going to win you the game. And oh, by the way, if he does have to pass it, he's got Kyrie there, which is
and when he's struggling, that's Kyrie is the guy who can step up and carry the team for whatever that rest period is, or I'll take this quarter. Doncic is always a little bit banged up, which affects his defense more than his offense. But he's got Kyrie to pick up the slack.
And the rest of the team has balanced scoring underneath them. Let's face it, they're going to score 60 on most nights. So the rest of that 40 to 45 to 50 points is it's all 10, 7, 6, 8, 9. It's all balanced. But those guys are playing really good defense. They're filling the lanes. And I just feel like Luka is one of those guys, much like Jokic, who most of the time can toy with people and make a play when you need to. The difference is that I feel like Luka's got Kyrie to pass it to, as opposed to, at least Kyrie's been really consistent this year, which I never thought I would say about Kyrie Irving. But his experience and his ability to be option 1A and his work on the defensive end against Anthony Edwards, he's been invaluable. And I do think Dallas wins this. And I'll tell you this. Boston, I think Boston had an easy path through the East. I think Boston will be favored, but I'm not counting Dallas out against Boston. I'm not.
Yeah, they should be favored. Well, I don't know if they should be favored. They will be favored. Look, Kyrie, I've said it many times before. I think he's a crazy talent. I think he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA, or certainly a top 10. But yeah, I don't know. He's whatever. Maybe he's just gotten a little bit more mature. He's a little bit older now, somewhat older. He's not a young kid anymore. I don't know. Whatever. He's got his act together, and now he's got seemingly a head that goes along with that great talent. As far as Boston goes, it's easy to look. I'll say this in general, though. If there's
He'll say what?
I agree, Pete.
I agree 100%. That was a well thought out.
Here's what I will say about Boston: they're not playing their best ball, and they're deep enough that they
don't jump to any conclusion.
They can beat.
Don't jump to any conclusion.
Yeah. Boston's deep, and they don't need their superstars to play their best ball for them to win. Now they're beating a Pacers team, which they got past the depleted Knicks. Okay, whatever. They're not bad. But the West, every team in the West was better than by leaps and bounds by anybody Boston's played in the East.
There was no way that Boston was not winning that series. But the Pacers beat the walking wounded. From I mean the Knicks had like 4 players.
Yeah, and the East
to field
the East was just wide open for Boston. You had Joel Embiid coming back from an injury. You had a beat up Bucks team. You had a Knicks team who, had a great season out of Jalen Brunson and some of the role players, but just got hurt. They lost their best defensive player. They lost their second best player, halfway through the season. And Indiana, whatever. I do think a Dallas Boston finals. I think it's good basketball. I think it'll be interesting.
You do?
Yeah.
I do too. I think it's going to be an interesting. Look, Dallas is winning. I mean,
it's hard to say they won't, but
Minnesota's not coming back being down 3-0, right? So that's. I mean, could it happen? Sure, it could happen, right? But
Dallas needs to win in the next game so that they're not totally,
they can lose the next game, but they need to win Game 6.
Yeah, Luka's not, LeBron James in his 20s. Luka needs a little. You don't want to put wear and tear 2 more games, unnecessary games on him going into a finals. You just don't.
Agreed. So, but on that note, as banged up as he is, I just think I don't see this. Oh, the Celtics are definitely going to be favored. I don't see the Celtics not beating either of these teams. I just think it's time. It's their year. They're going to win it. It's
yuck.
I know, but what are you going to do?
Well,
right?
Listen,
for all you Celtics fans out there, kudos to you. But
fuck you and this boring ass team of yours.
I do know a couple of Celtics fans that agree with that, though. That agree with it. The fact that they're good, but they're boring.
You know what, though? At least I won't have to listen to Paul fucking Pierce talk about the team that he bought to a championship. We're the last team to win in Boston. Yeah, you couldn't do a damn thing. You had to get shitty KG and a fucking washed up Ray Allen. Build the bear.
Well, look, here's the thing about Boston. They took the regular season seriously, which was nice to see. But they did beat a depleted Knicks team.
That's what we said.
Yep.
And at least in the last 2, they beat a Pacers team that was without their best player in Halliburton.
I don't think the Pacers make it out of the first round in the West. I don't think the Pacers make it out of the first round in the West.
Well, no. But my point is, I don't think Boston's really been tested.
No.
Through these playoffs yet. They haven't played a quality team that wasn't hurt.
Here's the one thing you could say in their defense as far as growth. All of these games against Indiana were kind of close, with the exception of one, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't figure out a way to blow it, which they were notorious for making series out of series that shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? So
they won close games.
There's a growth there. And that was my point, is that they're so deep and experienced now that any one of those 5 starters can kind of win you a game, here or there. And I think that bodes well moving into a finals. Because you got to have those unsung players. Because Tatum's going to have one night where he goes off for 50, but there's going to be another night where he disappears and it's going to be close and somebody's going to have to step up.
Right.
Who is that? Who knows? I don't think Dallas and Boston really have a ton of size. I think obviously if Porzingis plays, who knows? It sounds like he probably won't. That I think that's a difference maker.
Yeah.
But without Porzingis on the court, I think it changes the game quite a bit. And it's, I would love to see the teams at full strength, but I think his absence, gives Dallas a shot. I think it's a 6 or 7 game series, and I'm actually going to say it's a toss-up.
You are going to say it's a toss-up?
Yeah. I don't look, I could be wrong, but I just don't have the belief that Boston is just going to run away with it. I just don't.
I'm not saying they're going to run away with it. I mean, they played 14 games in the playoffs so far.
Right.
And they've lost 2 of them, right? They're 12-2, right? Now I think that carries over, and I do believe that they win, but I think you're right. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not saying they're going to go. They're not sweeping, the Mavs or the Timberwolves for that matter, if they happen to come back and win it. But I don't think they're. I'm going to say 4-2, maybe Game 7, maybe. But I still say that that Boston wins it.
We shall see. I know. I'll be rooting for Dallas. I can't believe I'm saying that. But can't believe I'm rooting for a team with Kyrie Irving on it. But
yeah, imagine that. Well, we know Pete's rooting for Kyrie. It's his boy. And he's muted. He's muted somehow.
Pete's now in a porta potty.
I think Dallas is going to win
Expressway.
it. I'm rooting for them. And the thing I was trying to say before is the one thing that we should have learned, and by we, I'm going to put us in the category with the professional pundits for once.
Well, we are.
Don't jump to conclusions.
Well, the professional pundits know far less than we do.
I was going to say there's a lot of professional pundits that we kind of out.
But like the whole point is we watched Minnesota in the first two games against Dallas and went, oh man, everybody went, they're so great, no one can beat them. And then we watched Denver, and then we watched Denver come back and win 3 straight. And went, oh man, don't count out the champs, they're so good. Well, I even heard people going into game 7 or game 6 saying, yeah, the tempo really changed. The momentum changed in the Nuggets' favor, really in game 3. And I'm like, no, it didn't. Like they were just trying to backtrack. And these are the same people who said, oh man, Minnesota looks unbeatable. So I mean, it's been crazy and it's been entertaining, but
it's been a lot of ups and downs, and
it's been a lot of ups and downs. But yeah, just people twisting themselves into pretzels, trying to sort of find a way to deny what they said just a few games ago because they were completely jumping on one bandwagon or another. So that to me has been the most interesting and funny thing about it.
I'll tell you what, if Porzingis does come back, my game plan would be to attack the fucking shit out of him. Go right at him with your fucking shoulder down, plow right into him.
Yeah, beat him up.
Beat him the fuck up. God, imagine having to watch Kristaps Porzingis win a fucking ring. Oh, disgusting.
That would have to be painful.
You would not be happy about that. You and a lot of people would not be happy about that. So anyway, well, we shall see. I'm going to say this: the West goes another 2 games. I'm going to say that the Minnesota wins game 5, and then the Mavs win game 6.
I think Dallas is going to close it out.
You think?
In Minnesota,
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
home court doesn't matter much in the West.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking the home teams win the next 2 games. So that would mean Dallas wins 4-2.
That would mean Boston would have 12 days off before the finals.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So nice and rested. So
or 9 days off, something like that. Anyway.
It's over a week, well over a week.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right, go basketball. Yay.
Oh, basketball, yay.
Harry trying so hard to find a true rooting interest. But
exactly.
Yeah.
He just wants to see good basketball. That's all.
Dallas has Kyrie on it, and Boston is fucking Boston. And the only time anyone ever likes Boston is when they were against the Lakers in the '80s. If you're an East Coast guy, Otherwise, no one likes Boston outside of Boston.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just.
It's tough.
Nothing's exciting about this team, but it's just whatever.
Yeah.
And the next, say, you know what?
Listen though. What would be? I mean, sorry to interrupt you, John. What would be sweeter, seeing Dallas win, or seeing Boston lose?
Seeing Boston lose.
Okay, so there's your, so you have a true rooting interest.
No matter what, I'm rooting for the West. I will become the biggest Karl Anthony Towns fan if he's elbowing Kristaps Porzingis in the fucking chops.
It could be Boston Celtics against the LA Sparks.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Go Lisa Leslie.
All right, so there you go. So there's your rooting interest. Misery of Boston and the Boston fans.
Right.
And all you Knicks fans out there, hopefully they figure out this injury bug and fix it for next year. Maybe
here's one thing on the injury bug that they're not going to figure out. Okay, You can't play your fucking starters all year as long as you do, and then grind them into the fucking ground in the playoffs, Thibodeau. You just can't.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. He's not a great coach. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. He was shitty for fucking years. Okay? And he does the same fucking thing. Get a bench, get Randall healthy, get Anunoby healthy. Look, they got lucky with some pickups that they got. And I'll give the front office their due. Okay? But the odds of the Knicks getting another year out of Jalen Brunson like this, let's face it, are not, he's going to be good, but I doubt he's going to be a 30-point a game guy again. And I don't want him to be.
Well, you don't want him to have to be. Yeah, that's the thing.
Exactly.
I don't want him to have to be. If he is, that's great. I don't want him to have to be. Right. So,
but if Randall comes back and is healthy, he shouldn't have to be.
Right.
That's 20 points right there.
I think they have a team that could lose in 5 games to a healthy Sixers team next year, or Bucks team, or Boston. Yeah, they're going to be right there. They're going to give you a good, solid second round 5-game loss.
Now, let me ask you a question on that note. If they're in the playoffs against the Sixers next year, what are your thoughts on LeBron
going to the Sixers? God, it would make me hate the Sixers more than ever. I mean, I would just watch every Sixers game just to hope that they all fucking get hurt or die in a fucking fiery concession stand accident. And throw Bronny in there too. I might suit up just to fucking take some swings. It's just, God, how annoying. He's not leaving LA, by the way. LeBron's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
LeBron is not going anywhere.
There you go. All right. Well, we will more than likely be doing another show at least towards the end of that series, assuming there's no sweep. So we'll be able to talk about it right before it ends, or right when it's ending.
Our next show is going to be when LeBron joins the Sixers.
When LeBron joins the Sixers, yes. We'll do a special show that night.
Yes.
So anyway, all right. There's your basketball chatter. Let's talk about some ice. What do we think about the playoffs thus far?
Oh, the games are too fucking long, and why do you have so much intermission and every game's overtime? Rangers, can you just win a game in regulation so I don't have to stay up so fucking late?
I just don't understand why every frigging game has to go to OT.
It's just, and they always give away 2 goals on just horrible fucking passing in their own zone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's just, I'm like, this is 6 hours of hockey. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the Red Army didn't even watch that much hockey.
The game 5 is tomorrow night. Here's my thing. This is all I want. All right. I just want the Rangers to win 6 more games. That's it.
Well, yeah, you and every other Rangers fan.
Mm.
Look, the Rangers are the best team in the NHL right now. They should win a Stanley Cup this year. They have a championship team. They're their own worst enemies sometimes.
I don't like what I'm seeing, and I didn't like it when I didn't like what I saw when they were playing Carolina in the last round. Even though they only lost 2, won 4-2, and I mean the same thing could happen here too, right? But their opponents in Carolina and now in Florida seem to be swarming, defense-wise and offense-wise, much more so than the Rangers are. It's almost as
but
if
the Rangers are winning.
Right. Obviously, they're doing something right, and a lot of that's Shesterkin, and that's fine. But the shots on goal, not last night's game, but Sunday's game, the shots on goal were insane. I mean, it was like 40 something to 90.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you can't. If the Rangers win the Stanley Cup, as with any team that wins the Stanley Cup, it almost always, if not always, has a lot to do with the guy between the pipes, right? Yeah. So obviously it'll be a lot of Shesterkin, of course, but you can't keep grinding on a guy like that and expect him to be great all the time.
Every
winning
game.
5-4 is fine.
Right.
But listen, again, when they're putting, I think it was more than 100, not shots, but what is the other like shot attempts or
shots on goal and shot attempts. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it was like 100. I just heard it the other day, 108 shot attempts or something like that.
Right.
You know, and 4 of them went in, which is still pretty damn good.
Right.
But at the same time, you go, oh, he gave up 4 goals, and but they won 5-4. But you can't keep, you can't get that out of the guy all the time. So you're right; they need to cut down on that. And I love Florida. I hate the Rangers, so I'm happy that it's 2-2, and I'd like to see Florida win it. But
only you would like Florida. I don't even know
he doesn't like Florida. He just can't stand the Rangers.
What is the name of their team? Even I don't even know.
Panthers.
The Florida Pumas.
There you go, Panthers.
The Pumas. But
I like Florida because they come in as
they're playing the Rangers.
Because they're not the Rangers.
No, because they come in as the last seed and then they get stuff done.
Look, the Rangers just need to hire. They just need to sign Barry Beck and Phil Esposito to a 6-game contract and
call it a day.
Call it a day. Maybe they should redo the Ooh La La Sassoon commercials.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. They'll just play it during the commercial breaks. That's all they need to do.
Who was the guy with the giant perm, the heartthrob of that team? Who the Islanders beat the piss out of every year. Yeah. Anyway.
But the Rangers will probably win the series. They most likely.
Yeah, they'll win.
But yeah, it's just they got to get it. The puck is way too often in the Rangers zone. I mean, they got to clear that. They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just they don't. They get before the puck gets cleared. The Panthers are taking like 17 shots, and then the puck gets cleared. Well, and then the Rangers take one shot, and boom, it comes right back down the ice. And I mean,
yeah, and I think a lot of that is I don't have the stats on this, but it seems to me that the Panthers are not taking as many penalties.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Rangers have their enforcers,
and so they're keeping more guys on the ice. And we know the Rangers' power play is pretty deadly, or usually.
It usually is.
The big question really in hockey is that: do you think Ronald Reagan is rolling over in his grave, seeing all of these white Republican men wearing Russian names on the back of their jerseys?
Maybe.
It's possible.
Maybe.
Anything's possible.
Trust but verify. Those guys have to go through customs.
We'll have to look into that. Jimmy, get on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Hockey's interesting. Let's just put it that way.
That is for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. And, as a Rangers fan, I hope you're right. But, I don't...
Look, it could just be the year where, and wouldn't this make Jerry Jones happy? Watching the Dallas Mavs and the Dallas Stars win a championship in the same year. Yeah. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. Well, hey, who won the World Series last year?
Yeah.
Where do they play? Where do they play?
Again, right outside Dallas in some fucking shithole suburban area called Arlington.
There you go. Shithole suburban area. right outside that downtown urban area that's a shithole suburb.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, that's true. You could have an all Texas Dallas.
Yeah, well, let's hope that doesn't carry over into football.
Oh, it definitely won't. It's not. I mean, the Houston Texans maybe, but not Dallas. You got a chance of the San Antonio Spurs winning the Super Bowl.
This is quite true. Oh, that's definitely an open. There you go. Spurs Super Bowl. Gotta love it. All right. Yeah, I think you're right though. I think it does get done. I don't know. Don't count Edmonton out though.
No. And I'd be happy for Edmonton too to make it in there because I don't know. They're just one of the teams from my childhood where it's just like Edmonton should be in the Stanley Cup.
Right. Exactly.
But
yeah, well, I
think the Stars are going to win.
Who would?
I really do think that. I think Dallas is going to win.
But who would
they are too?
If it is the Rangers and the Oilers in the Cup though, who does Gretzky root for?
Gretzky doesn't give a shit.
No, who cares?
The only team Gretzky cared about were the Kings, because they made him rich.
Yeah.
I think his allegiance definitely is more. I mean, he let's face it, he was a better player on the Oilers than he was on the Rangers.
Of course. So anyway, all right. Well, that's going to play out. We'll definitely be on the show, the next show before that finishes up. So
yeah, we'll have some uninformed.
Yeah, that won't be over
until
August, right?
Yeah,
I think it's over in August, and then they start the preseason for next year. Yeah,
that's right.
Kind of keeps going straight. So, cool. Do we have an Are They For Real tonight?
We do.
We have an Are They For Real?
While you play the music, I'm going to go eat dinner. I'll be back.
What is real?
All right.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real.
For real, for real, for real. Yeah.
Are you for real? For real? For real? For real?
Are they for real?
What is real?
All right, so we do this occasionally. We've done it recently too, but we're going to revisit baseball. I know we're not talking a lot of baseball now because
baseball. I love it.
The Yankees are great, and the Mets are.
I don't know about great, but
compared to the Mets, they're
better than the Mets.
They're only amongst the best teams in baseball. So anyway, so let's talk American League.
Let's do that.
Who is more for real, the New York Yankees or the Cleveland Guardians?
Yankees.
I'm going to say the Yankees, and I'll tell you why. It has everything to do with their pitching and the fact that their best pitcher is yet to pitch. But let me tell you something. Cleveland is a really good team, and there's another team in that division that I think is the surprise of the year so far, and that's the Kansas City Royals.
Well, that was my next question. Who's more for real, the Baltimore Orioles or the Kansas City Royals? And you know, I'm on the Baltimore bandwagon, and they have gotten their shit together after a little bit of a rough start early on.
Well, they were in first place for a couple of weeks, and the Yankees kind of surged past them. Yeah. I'm going to say that Baltimore is more for real only because this is the second year in a row that they've been playing this type of ball. I think they're a little bit more comfortable in this role than I think Kansas City is. But and I think that Baltimore is maybe made for the long haul a little bit more. But Kansas City's played some great baseball so far. And I think they're both for real. If I had to choose, I'm going to go with Baltimore just because I think they have more experience under their belt. And I think they have their lineup is crazy. So it's consistent, and they seem to produce runs. But look, Kansas City's got some. They're a dangerous team, and they play in a division where I think they could beat up on some people quite often.
Yeah, then that's where I was going to go with that. I agree with you with the Orioles that they do have the experience, if you will, but this being their sophomore season with that, resume, if you will, I'm going to lean towards the Royals here being a little more for real this year.
Okay.
Overall, I would say Orioles, but this year for what's going on this season, I'm leaning towards Kansas City, and their division is a big part of that too.
Yeah.
The Tigers.
Well, they got the White Sox.
They got the White Sox, right? I mean that alone, and they can. Yeah.
I mean, their pitching has been amazing. Lugo's 8-1. He has 9 quality starts out of 11 games started. He's got a 1.74 ERA.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
good for him.
Yeah, I mean nobody else on that team from a starting pitcher standpoint is really standing out. They have some good starting pitching, but he's an ace. So I think that come playoff time, I think you might be able to get past them only because they might not have the depth of pitching that Baltimore might have.
Right. Fair enough.
All right. One more for the American League.
Yeah.
Who is more for real, the A's or the Angels? Yeah. The A's are the Angels. They're still the A's.
Well, the Angels came back and beat the Yankees last night. I think the A's are a better team. I think they're off to a bad start. I think Oakland's playing way better than anybody thought they would. I think the Angels, in the long run, are a better team. I think they're more for real. And I think they'll finish ahead of Oakland. I'll tell you who's in danger of dropping below both of them are the Astros. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're struggling too.
Yeah, who would have thought the Oakland A's would have a better record than the New York Mets?
This is true.
Other than Mets fans.
Yeah.
Outside of Mets
yeah.
John, what do you think? A's or Angels?
I'm leaning towards Angels, and I'll tell you why. I like Ron Washington. I've always liked Ron Washington. I thought that was a good pickup for them. At one point, I was hoping that he would be, not recently, a couple of years ago, I thought that he might be in the mix for the Mets. But yeah, I think the Angels are built a little bit better than Oakland. I think Oakland's riding a little, not that they're riding anything, but 23 and 33, right? They're 10 games under 500, but they're playing better ball, and I think a little bit of that is a little juice from the move, and maybe some fans coming there, and looking at. But inevitably, that's going to come. That's going to come to a stop this year because the reality is going to set in that they ain't playing there in that stadium next year. They're going to play in Sacramento for a couple of years before they go to Vegas, right? So, and I do think the Angels are built a little bit better for all intents and purposes.
If you ever want to get somebody to really like Vegas, have them live in Sacramento for a couple of years. Look, that division has one team with a winning record, and that's Seattle. They're 4 games over 500.
Right.
So every other team in that division is under 500, and it's so the American League. You got a couple decent teams in there, but. I mean, I think the Central's got some surprises. I mean, I thought Minnesota's playing okay. I thought they'd be better. I didn't think the Detroit Tigers would be playing 500 ball. So,
well, it's I don't know what every team's schedule is, but with the change in the schedule and not playing as many teams,
right? But they still play a majority of teams. Yeah,
they do, but it's still 5 or 6 games less against everybody.
Yeah, so it's 12 against each team or something.
12 or 13 instead of 19 or something like that. But look, seeing a decent amount of parity, although they're all kind of, a lot of the teams are lousy, but
it's
there's
early.
Parity there, and that they're all. It is early. But, all right,
we are a third of the way through the season. So.
Yeah.
Right, it's still early though. It's still early. We're 50, almost 60 games in. So, yeah, we're getting there. All right, let's head to the National League.
Who's more for real, the Dodgers or the Mets?
Yeah. Who's more for real? I think I did this last time. They might be in this. Pittsburgh or the Cardinals?
Oh, Pittsburgh or the Cardinals?
My Pirates are falling down.
Right now, I'm going to say the Cardinals. They're on a bit of a heater. They're 8-2 in their last 10. I do think the Cardinals are slightly better in the long run. I think these two teams are going to be right around 500. I think they're both going to be bad. They're both going to be kind of battling for a wild card, and that's about it.
Yeah, it would not shock me. It would not shock me for both Pittsburgh and St. Louis to finish 81-81.
Yeah,
it wouldn't. So, but my answer to your question is yes.
Yes.
Look, I think both of them
of the above.
I think both of them could squeeze into a wild card. I'm not sold on the Giants or the Padres. I think the Cubs will be battling, in there, but
but the Cubs are probably going to go through a big slide like they always do.
That's what I'm saying. I think you could see 2 out of the. How many wild card teams are there? 3? That 4, right? 1.
No.
There's 4 wild card teams in each division, right? No.
3.
No, 3.
3. Okay. So I mean, I think you could see 2 out of the 3 be at or under 500 in the National League. I really do. and maybe the same in at least one or two of them in the American League. Because I mean, either Baltimore or the Yankees are going to obviously have a good record and be one of them, and either Kansas City or Cleveland, which is probably Cleveland, I think is. But I mean, the other teams, even Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay, the Rangers, I think they're all going to be sitting around 500. I just see a lot of parity this year in the middle of the pack.
There you go.
All right, last one for the National League. Who is more for real, the Mets or the Marlins?
Oh God, that's painful to fucking.
And while you guys mull over that, I just want to say, and I know I said the Mets will never win anything significant.
The Mets are more real.
As long as Steve Cohen is the owner. It's bad mojo. That doesn't mean I want them to lose.
Hey.
I just think they're cursed.
The Mets are a better team than the Marlins.
Mets are a better team. Mets
are they really
on paper, yeah, they're a better team than the Marlins.
Okay.
I can't see this horse shit that they've been putting out on the field night in and day out, or day in and night out, however you want to say it, continue like week in and week out. It's got to change, even if it levels out. Even if it levels out and doesn't change, you go the other way. Even if it just levels out, they're still better than the Marlins.
But what about them on paper is so great, though? That's my point about the Mets.
It's not that the Mets are so great; it's that the Marlins are unremarkable.
Yeah. So there's nothing about the Mets particularly being great in any particular position. I mean, there's some pluses, there's some minuses, there's some good points, there's some bad points, but the good points, as few as there are, outweigh the Marlins' good points. So
they can't possibly be.
They both have really lacking. Look, I'll give the Mets a little bit of an advantage because I think they have more power with Alonso. But both teams' leading hitters are barely over 260. Yeah, so it's not like they're blowing anything up. The Chaz Chisholm has an on-base percentage of 331, which is leading the team. I mean,
it's Jazz Chisholm, not what you said.
I said Chaz Chisholm.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I said I know. I did it on purpose.
I just want to make sure you knew. That's
because it's funny.
It is. I say it all the time, not on purpose. It just comes out that way. I don't mean it that way either.
All right.
Well, I just wanted to work in Chaz Chisholm.
For real.
Chaz Chisholm. He's glad you mentioned Marlins, so he could have worked out Chaz Chisholm.
Chaz Chisholm, yeah.
Chaz Chisholm. There you go. Anyway.
Jazz Chisholm.
Anyway. All right. Cool.
That is a weird name.
Chisholm. I mean, Chisholm is a name.
Chisholm. That's all American Wild West, right? Chisholm.
Chisholm. Hey.
Like Chisholm, Wyoming, or
Chisholm, Minnesota is where Moonlight Graham was from in Field of Dreams. So,
there we go.
Is that Chisholm, or are you just happy to see me?
Is that Chisholm, or you're just happy to see me? There you go. Anyway,
or both.
It could be both. You never know. All right.
4-year-old. Anyway.
Well, aren't we?
All right, baseball. Only 7 more months, and we'll figure out what's going on. See you in the fall.
All right, there. I think we got that. There we go. All right. Do we have an over/under?
Oh yeah, we do.
All right.
Oh, hang on. So I was going through a box in the basement, as I am wont to do, because there's a lot
as you were feeding your
alligator
roommate,
and I came across. I have some stuff that was my dad's. Like, I have this reindeer or regular deer thing, which you hold letters in.
Yep.
Paper clip, and that used to be on his desk. And I found something that was really, really old, and it's a really cool thing. And I'm surprised. I don't know if anybody uses it.
It's my underoos from 1978.
It's a letter holder.
Yeah.
Oh, there
it's
you
got
go.
all these slots here.
Yeah.
And you can put your bills in here and all your stuff. It's got little handles on the end.
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty cool because I always have a million papers all over my desk, and now I can sort of fold them up and
Forget that they're
put
there.
them in here, and then they take up less space. So I don't have to deal with them. And as you can see, I still have a lot of. So the over/under here, how many slots in the old?
I mean, slots in the old letter
This thing
holder.
is old. You can't really see. It's kind of coppery and sort of a little worn, and they got the
hold it up again.
handles.
Gotcha.
All right.
Wooden handle.
What's the over/under?
What's the
So
over?
the over/under is.
Please don't tell me you're going to count when this is.
Hopefully, you already did.
Yeah.
I counted already.
All right, good. Thank you.
So the over/under is 51.5.
Ooh.
And that is slots. So obviously this would be
one.
And then this would be the last one over here.
On
And another thing that's cool about this is on the end.
One. Do they count as one?
On the end is a great place to hold my speed stick.
There you go.
That's thing. But
Because
do they count as one or no?
No, this is not one. This
Okay. Then I'm gonna go under.
Gonna go under 51
Under 51 and a half.
John?
Well, I mean, I could just be boring and go with what he said, or I could do the opposite. So I'm going over.
John's gonna go over.
All right. By the way, always good to have at your desk while you're going through mail and paying bills. Deodorant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is sort of my, like, I have my deodorant, I have my box of
Boxo pills.
I have my.
You have your pills and your bills.
My box of urine jars.
My lens wipes. I've got my
anal lube.
Marijuana pipe.
Marijuana
pipe. Scissors and
my
a lot of stuff.
My glass dildo.
Oh, two of them actually.
Yeah, well, of course.
Two or three different color fleshlights. You know.
Sometimes the weekends are just different.
Exactly.
All right, so Harry, good guess. It's considerably under 51 and a half. It's actually 40 slots.
Yeah.
So, which is a lot.
Yeah.
You can see I barely filled half of them. Not even.
See, I looking at it, I knew damn well that it was way less than 51 and a half.
Yeah.
But it's just boring to, I'm going to go with what Harry said.
Well, you never know.
It's just boring to always be right. I
kind of tried to hide, some of them with some of the But I don't know if they make these anymore, but it's a pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I'm sure you can find a modern version at Staples or
this is the sort of thing that they should make in shop class,
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I have cutting boards that each of my boys made a cutting board.
Jewelry boxes, remember that with the
jewelry boxes? Yeah. The other thing we should do is metal pouring.
Yeah, now they should make like a nice little paraphernalia box for your weed.
You'd make like the mold with the sand, and then you'd take the thing out, and then you'd pour the.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think I made an ashtray once.
Yeah. So, but I think this would be a cool thing to have, and it's actually useful.
There you go.
I have,
you also realize that like most people don't have letters anymore.
Right. No, but see, the thing about this is
I still get some mail that I have to
like you can see
they do still make them.
See everything really easily. You just kind of what I mean? You can see the top of everything.
They
and for me that's good because I have this stuff that I need to hang on to. And like I said, usually it goes in a pile, and then when I want to find it, I have to leaf through 30 pages of stuff. Now I just have to look.
I mean, if you go to the Container Store, there's probably 75 different wire letter holders of different.
I am afraid to go in that store.
It is overwhelming, and I would not recommend. I would only do it if you. I would go with a spotter.
Really needed something
and a clear list.
Someone with a dart gun to get me out of there. I've never gone in.
You have to go in with Maria Kondo.
Yes, 100%.
She knows her way around very well.
I would walk out of there.
This one right here. There you go.
I would need like a container, like a big container to hold all the containers that I bought if I went in there. You know what I mean? Like,
you would need to buy a container to hold your container.
If you ever
turn
the lights on behind you, then we all know that you're an organizational freak.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
It's
You know,
called
like the Home
have
Depot
a
flatbed
shelf
truck thing.
and just throw shit on top of it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then
Well,
hang a
stack it
towel
up
on the
and-
corner or something.
That's it.
Or a
to
robe.
dry. Hang the towel up to dry. Where one tiny section of the middle of it that actually hangs over the thing
Right.
gets dry, and the
Right.
rest is all
And the rest is all wet.
together and
Just
Yeah.
makes everything else smell musty and
Exactly.
it just gets
I just
moldy.
rub some deodorant on it.
But then you just take those two dry areas and use them to, pat yourself. And that's it,
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's
All
my
right.
must. Doesn't matter how
It's
much.
my must, and I'll enjoy it if I want to.
Doesn't matter how much is
I
on.
mean, I can't imagine. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to walk into that room and go, "Gee, it smells amazing in here."
You know,
I just would never expect that.
Yeah.
when I go to work in the morning, I leave the door open, and when I come home, my wife has closed it
Right.
because you just.
But I
it comes
expect a
to the
little bit of
stairs.
like a locker room meets 42nd Street in the 80s kind of something.
The stairs are just on the other side of that wall. And
Yes,
so
I-
when she comes up them, she has to make a right and go down the hall to, and just being
she
in the
knows it.
same vicinity,
Say,
it's like, I'm closing the goddamn door.
yeah.
And
Well, especially now because when the AC is on, the return is right in the. So now, just,
just goes right up.
That's why
I'll
you put
crack
your,
the
you
window
put your
just a little
boxers right
bit.
near the return air vent.
I'll crack the window just a little bit and create a tunnel of stair flow
And I
into the system and
Dad's home.
distributes throughout the whole house.
and I can speak firsthand that I've been in that room, so I know what he's talking about. And that's
Oh,
true.
it's
So,
bad. I
right
know.
there. There's proof right there. Okay,
Yeah,
right
I
there.
know.
Yeah, it's bad.
It looks like you cleaned up before you got there, though. Like that.
Before he cleaned up a little for me, he cleaned up a
That
little.
shelving area looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it's
The
Well, it's still
Jets
there.
hat, the Jets logo, the Jets. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then, of course, the big Giants fan in the front of you.
yeah. That was a banner day.
That was a banner day. That was a banner day in the RadioPete household. So, gotta love it. All right. Anything else before we go?
And honestly, John, that's probably the most someone has been in this room besides me was that moment.
Hey, you know how many of his? Do you know how many of his OnlyFans fans have wanted to get in that space? And
Usually,
there you
what
were,
I get,
getting in for free.
usually what I get is this: dinner time, and then they're out the door.
And they're out the
That's
door.
it. They just come on in. They just
Yeah.
lean in. They don't even step a toe in. They just lean from the waist, turn their head.
Dinner time.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't want to get their socks wet.
No one wants to put a
I,
foot in here.
well, I did leave my shoes on, so.
Yes.
I'm
As
wearing
one
white.
should.
I'm wearing white socks, Dad. I'd like to
Yeah.
keep them that way.
Yeah. You know, most people ask you to take your shoes off.
He did.
No, you need to put your shoes on.
Right. I did leave
can't
my
afford
I
another
did-
OSHA violation.
I did leave my shoes on, and before I left the house, I wiped them on the way out. So.
And that's the reason
Well,
for the
there's
orange
a-
vest
here.
is to enter that room.
Put these paper slippers on. Go upstairs and wake your father from his nap.
Yeah. Like somebody's working in the factory with Laverne and Shirley, put this hairnet on and this mask.
I do have a full face, with the aerosol things.
Well,
Yeah.
you get extra
Years
money.
ago, I used to.
That's
I used
extra.
to work.
That's extra though, right?
But
used to work with the foul and the.
Isn't that the most
bugs.
popular combo? Is the leather thong and the gas mask?
Right.
And
That's the most. That's
and
the
the
most.
Jets hat.
That's the most requested one. Yes, absolutely.
yeah. Sometimes they want me to wear it. Sometimes they want to wear it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Talk
One
to me
costs a
through-
little more than the other.
Talk to me through your gas mask. I don't know why we talk
All right.
about sports. We should just jump right to the over.
Yeah.
right to the overrunners and call it a day. Right.
All right. There's nothing going on in football for once.
Nothing going on in football. We got it'll be coming up in the next month or so. We'll
Is
be
there another
talking about
draft?
it. I think so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see though. All right. I think we're good. What do you think?
I guess we should
I
mention
knew there was.
Yeah, I
amongst
think
all this levity, sorry to do this, but we probably should mention the passing of Bill Walton.
Absolutely. I was going to have that written down here. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was sad. I did not realize he was that ill. There's a great great documentary on him. I'm not sure if it was a 30 for 30. I think it was. It was this year that it came out, and just a truly unique figure, and
easy to what's the word I'm looking for?
Parody, minimize.
Yeah, when you exaggerate one feature of somebody,
right.
Caricature, easy to make a caricature of with the Grateful Dead and the tie dye and the but apparently from everyone who's ever met him, just an absolutely
that's just who he
wonderful human being,
a wonderful human being that cannot be duplicated or replicated. It was just an honor to be on this planet, and someday I want to come back and resurrect, just as the magic fingers of John Mayer have resurrected the Grateful Dead in honor of Jerry. I will come back and haunt you in your dreams.
Turn on your light. But and pretty good basketball player too.
Also, right?
Look, I would say that I think he's the second best college player of all time, and he was dealing with injuries in college. I mean, Kareem, I think, is obviously, I think the best college player of all time. And I also think the best pro player of all time. But Bill Walton, I think, was humble enough to learn how to be a role player. And if you ask Larry Bird, honestly, who was the most important part of that, 86 team, it was Bill Walton. And I think he was his best friend on the team, to be honest with you. And I think he was a big part of that. And unfortunately, he couldn't get another one there because his body was constantly breaking down. The guy lived a life of pain, physical pain, most of his life, even God knows after his career as well. And he's just one of those guys.
You wouldn't know it to see him.
You wouldn't know it.
See him speaking or whatever. He's one of those. There are certain players who are not robotic, but you don't get to see behind the mask as much. And there are certain players like Bill Walton who remind you that they are these amazing professional athletes who do things that such a small percentage of human beings can do and do it so well.
Right.
They're human beings too. And there are some players that really remind you of that.
And who
just
stuck
by their very being. And Bill Walton was one of those
stuck
guys.
Their neck out for a good cause back in the day. Bill Walton was arrested protesting, the war,
and right at a time when that sort of thing could ruin you.
I mean, they basically told him, "Hey, you can't look like that. You can't grow your hair long. You can't have a beard. You can't do this. You can't do that."
Yeah.
He just kind of wore everybody down, I think. And I think the amazing thing that when you talk about, there's one thing that's in common with them, and that's John Wooden. I think John Wooden saw that they were both not only great players, but really strong minds.
Right.
And I think he tapped into that in both of them in different ways. And I think he's a big part of their, the fact that they played a long college career and that they had somebody pushing them both uphill and pushing them to be the best that they could be. And I realize the game has changed. We're never going to see players like that again, either in the NBA or in the NCAA for sure. But he has to be remembered for what he did early in his career as one of the best NCAA players of all time. And I'll say this about his NBA career. I think it's amazing he got as much out of himself as he did, considering the fact that he was just decimated with injury after injury after injury. There might not have been, prior to Michael Jordan, I actually think there was more hype about Bill Walton coming into the NBA than there was about Jordan. I think LeBron and Kobe maybe topped that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of pressure, especially when you're not living up to what people think you should be, and then sign a huge contract back in the day and are injured. And let's face it, look, in the NBA, he did it in a small market town on a team of really great role players with a great coach in Portland. And I'll tell you what, if he doesn't get hurt, I think Portland wins 2 or 3 championships. I really do.
Yeah.
And don't forget Kareem's quote in Airplane.
That's right. You drag Lanier and Walton up and down the court. Right?
Tell your old man to drag Walton and Lanier up and down the court for 48 minutes a night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like Bill Walton played in an era where there weren't good big men. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He was not the one good big man amongst
that's right.
a league of tinies. No.
And he was a really unique player. He kind of was one of those guys who would rather pass and rebound and be part of a team than just watching him, the ball sort of die in his hands. And that's why it was, even though, of course, it was hard for me as a kid to root for the Celtics, there was something unexplainable about those Celtics teams. And you sort of found yourself rooting for them because of Bill Walton. I mean, I found like that was my ticket into being able to say, screw it. I love the Lakers and I love the Knicks. I hate Boston, but I'm going to root for the Boston because of Bill Walton. I want to see him win one, There
you go. All right. Yeah, that's a shame.
It's sad. But rest in peace, Mr. Walton.
Yes,
I still don't like the Grateful Dead, but I like him a lot more than because of you.
There you go.
My favorite Deadhead of all time, Bill Walton.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, that is it.
I think we could call it a show. All right. On that note, we'll wrap it for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch every other Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcast, Amazon Music Podcast, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Riffonic. Pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you will find the Get On With It Sports Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. And we will talk to you in a couple weeks, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Go Mavs. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Go
Or
Mavs
go
and
Wolves.
go Panthers.
Go
Pumas.
Go
That's
Pumas.
great.
No.
Go
Rangers.
Royals.
Go New York.
Royals.
Go New York.
And I'm picking San Antonio to win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
You ever see the Simpsons where Homer thinks he eats a puffer fish and he thinks he's going to die? So he puts on the headphones and Larry King is reading the Bible. So they show Homer asleep and it's the very end, whatever the last passage in the Bible is. And then and Larry King does the voice and he goes, so that's it, I guess, blah, blah, blah. Have a great day. I like the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA if you're a betting man.
Larry King.
Then Homer
Larry
doesn't
King,
die,
the Bill Walton of talk shows. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, Larry King reading the Bible. Good.
Yeah.
That's the audio book I'm going to pass out and die to.
Gotta love it.
Anyway, bye, everybody.